Hello, viewers, and welcome to this series of Next Plan DNA of a Mega Brand. Through this series, we are getting number of industry leaders, industry captains, industry experts in the field of sales and marketing, and trying to pick their brains, trying to pick up learnings from their careers, their experiences, and bring it to all of you so that colleagues across the organizations they can pick up a few important thoughts and learnings and utilize for their own brands or for their own marketing purpose. Before I start the conversation on today's topic, which is data to insights, let me give a small brief 2 minutes why we have chosen this path, why we are doing this program today, and a few more programs in the coming weeks. So let me give a little preamble. So at Nextplan, we have been fortunate, I would say, that we got an opportunity over last 2 years to work with 53 plus large brands in the pharma industry, more than 12 organizations we have worked with. And hence, we thought that there are some common learning, some common aspects which are standing out through this journey. We thought that we'll bring up that to the back to the industry and hope that colleagues would pick up some learning from that. So not necessarily every organization will have all these points that I'm mentioning, and there will be some points which could be exclusive for the organization. But by and large, these are the common observations that we find. Data to customer insights, the journey worth taking. I think this is our today's topic. So data to information, information to insights, and insights to really actionable insights. And we are going to discuss that. But this is one area where I think many times we see a lot of challenges around this area. Other important observation is about is the molecule market. So audits might define market in the fashion of a particular molecule or particular therapy. But is it worth looking at it other way around by saying that what are the customers, what they're looking for, whether customers, caregivers, patients, doctors, what are they looking for and what benefit they're looking for? And in that context, what is my definition of the market? So I think there are two very different perspectives, looking at from a customer perspective versus looking at from a molecule perspective, and that can open up significantly different opportunities for market. Social and digital marketing, I think, had become a center. It has come to the center stage during pandemic. Definitely, the importance has gone up. I think the key challenge remains, even in 2021, is that how do we integrate social and digital with something on the ground? So how physical we can be effective is something very important, and hence we can drive value out of it. From conventional marketing, or if I use the word from the pharma context, a little bit of push marketing to permission marketing is again a very important journey, and that journey got accelerated during pandemic, during 2020. Another important factor that turned out to be key when it is about permission marketing is content is becoming very, very important. So relevance of the content to the customers, the quality of the content, who delivers, how it is delivered, involvement of the influencer in deliver, and so on and so forth, has become significantly important. And hence, we can't be just talking about brand anymore, but content around that is going to be very important. Patients, over last few years, patients, they were playing more and more important role in the healthcare that they receive. Again, during pandemic, this process got accelerated. So patients, patient needs, what are the patient journeys? How do we look at the patient journeys? And in the changing context, what is the role of the patient for a particular therapy and a brand is something that marketers, they need to take a fresh look at it as we enter into 2021. Alignment of strategy and tactics. Yes, it's a age-old issue, challenge, or dilemma, I would say. That many times we get some brainy ideas, great tactics individually in isolation, but do they connect? Are they in the framework of the strategy which is defined is very, very important. And hence the connecting the dots becomes important subject. Shared learning, there are organizations with 5 divisions, 25 divisions, 35 divisions. And as the organizations, they become bigger, I think sharing across the organizations, sharing across the divisions, sometimes they end up into becoming silos, and how do we share and learn from each other is very important point. And the last point is related to the learning, is that do we do we look at it and say that, oh, we're already doing it, or we are saying that let's look at the new thing, new concept, and whether there are better ways of doing what we are doing already. I think that mindset, that culture is very, very important. So in today's conversation, obviously we are not going to touch all these 8 aspects, but these 8 aspects will constitute our points of conversation in the coming weeks and coming months. And today we are going to spend time on data to customer insights, a journey worth taking. I welcome Mr. Sudarshan Jain and Mr. Ambi Parmeshwaran for this conversation, and I will take a minute to introduce both of them to the audience. Mr. Sudarshan Jain, as you are aware, is the Secretary General for Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance. Mr. Sudarshan Jain has a strong passion for healthcare and education sector. He has served in several leadership positions, and in his last assignment, he was Managing Director at Abbott Healthcare Solutions. Mr. Jain carries more than 35 years of experience with several large MNCs as well as Indian companies, and he has been associated with over 30 brands, which are among top 300 in the Indian pharma industry. Mr. Jain has also served as a Vice President at OPPI, and he has been associated with several leading educational institutes even today. Mr. Jain, he is a graduate from St. Stephen's at Delhi and an MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. Welcome, Mr. Jain, for this conversation. Welcome, Mr. Ambi Parmeshwaran. Mr. Ambi Parmeshwaran is a brand consultant and coach and founder of Brand Building, which is a brand advisory currently. He has spent more than 40 years in the corporate India with several organizations and advertising agencies. He spent about 25 years with FCB Ulka, building it into one of the India's top 5 advertising agencies. He has worked on iconic brands and companies such as Tata, Wipro, Zee, TCS, Thermax, GSK, Tropicana, Amul, Nirma, LIC, Santur, Sundrop, ITC, to name a few. Mr. Ambi's columns, they appear regularly in the Business Standard and several other business publications. He is a distinguished alumnus, awardee from both IIT Madras and IIM Calcutta, an AMP graduate from Harvard Business School, a PhD in management from Mumbai University, and a CFI certified CEO coach. Welcome, Mr. Ambi Parmeshwaran, for this conversation. So before I really begin with today's topic, Mr. Parmeshwaran, since you are here and you're available today, I thought that, why not to, ask you a few questions in the context of brand building, and you're a guru in brand building. And hence, over the years, over your career while handling several brands, several businesses, I'm sure you have picked up a few principles. Now, brand building is a vast subject, and it cannot be addressed in 5 minutes. I completely understand that, but I'm sure you can, share your filtered learnings, so as to say, with the audience. So, in the context of brand building, over to you, Mr. Parmeshwaran.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sherry, for inviting me to be on this video session, and good to always be with my old and dear friend Sudarshan. So happy to be here and share a little bit of wisdom that I have. So I think the first question you asked me is interesting, because brand is something all of us use very loosely, and a lot of us tend to think that if you do something, brand will get built. Now, I wish it was that easy. It's, brand building is complex. Brand building is challenging. Brand building, therefore, is a interesting thing to do. And when we talk of marketing, I think the guru of marketing, Professor Philip Kotler said this, that marketing equals branding. If you take out branding, there is nothing much left in brand, in marketing. So the foundation of marketing is built on branding, and a lot of time we use the term very loosely. I'm building a brand. But what are the key steps? I mean, 4 basic guiding principles of building the brand, as we say in marketing again, is first is customer focus. So do we know who's the customer? Do we know what needs and wants our brand is satisfying? If you don't know that, then you're really looking for a black cat in a dark room with no light, right? It's going to be spray and pray strategy, so to speak. So first is that, which is all brand building starts with understanding the customer and what needs and wants the customer am I going to satisfy with my brand. The second step, and I'm, Sherry, like you said, I'm simplifying it. So the second step, of course, is to say, what is my brand's DNA? What do I want my brand to stand for? What are the rational benefits? What are the emotional benefits? What is my brand positioning statement? And if I have a brand key, what is a brand key? And how is it different from the other competitive brands in the market? Right. So you can write a positioning statement which exactly sounds like that of another analgesic or another, antidiarrheal product. It's not going to work. So how is it going to be different? So how is your brand DNA? How is your brand positioning different? Right. And I can go on and on, but brand positioning statement is basically a simple statement. Who is the customer? In our case, who is the doctor? Who is the patient? What is the product category? What is the single-minded promise I'm making, what I call SMP, single-minded proposition, and what is the reason to believe, RTB. So all these three could be different in your case, but as compared to the competition, maybe your target customer is same, but your single-minded proposition is different, or single-minded proposition is same, but your reason to believe is different, right? So you can make whatever difference you want, right? So that is the second step, which is understand customers, understand what is your brand. The third is, I think, very critical, which is, do you have an innovation agenda? So in this day and age, if your brand doesn't constantly innovate, you're going to lose the attention of the customer. In the case of our viewers, you'll lose the attention of the doctors, right? So you got to keep innovating. And the innovation doesn't necessarily mean, looking for a new molecule or looking for some new thing. Innovation could be even a new indication, could be an innovation, for example. Like there is a famous article in Harvard Business Review which spoke about uh, innovation by brands, and they gave an example of Oreo, which is a very old brand, and how they started innovating, and suddenly the brand started growing. And I say this, a lot of brand managers get upset, but that article has this statement: there are no tired brands, and there are only tired brand managers, right? So every brand, even if it is 100-year-old brand, there is enough energy. If you have enough energy as a brand manager, you can put that energy into your brand and make it more exciting. So every brand is exciting, right? So that is, first is customer focus, second is brand DNA, third is innovation, and the fourth is a balance, like you said, Sherry, a balance of short term and long term, right? You got to understand that short term you may have to show some results, but you have to look at the long haul. You have to look at what are my plans going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. So sometimes when I talk to senior leaders, brand team, I ask them, okay, what is your brand sales today? And they say my brand sales is 50 crores. I said, okay, what do you expect this to become in 3 years' time? They say market is growing like this and that. So 50 crores, we expect it to go to 65 crores. So yeah, 65 crores you think is achievable? Yes, it's achievable. Okay. What if I were to ask you that I want your brand to go from 50 crores, not to 65 crores, but 50 crores to 100 crores in 3 years' time? What will it take? And this is where the short term and long term, balancing the two comes. Now, if you as a brand manager are looking at these incremental growth of 5% and 6%, then you should also be settling for these incremental increments and incremental promotions, right? Whereas you say, look, I can take my brand from 50 crores to 100 crores in 3 years' time, but I need 10 crores to invest in the brand every year for the next 3 years. Maybe your boss will say no. Maybe your MD will tell you you're a fool, but at least you presented an alternative scenario to growing. Instead of growing by 5, crores every year, you present a scenario where your brand will actually grow by 15 crores every year. Right? So brand building is really about these four things: understand your customers, focus on what is your brand DNA, what are the innovations you're going to do, and how are you going to balance short-term and long-term focus on the brand. So I think I've given a broad introduction to brand building, and back to you, Srihari.
Yeah, I think wonderful, Mr. Parmeshwaran. I think not only you give examples, but I think clear 4 points came out, and I think you summarized it those points very well. And I'm sure for the brand managers, those who will be listening to it, it will be really wonderful for them. At least they will start thinking on those directions. So thanks for your comments and valuable input. Coming to you, Mr. Jain, I think one of the area that we continue to talk about data to insights as a journey, and a lot of pitfalls in that journey. So, what are the common pitfalls probably you would have observed or you would like to comment upon? And also, can you take some examples, maybe industry examples, or maybe recently I think pharma industry has done a lot of work in the COVID pandemic. So, some examples whether you can utilize and probably talk through about these data to insights pitfalls and how teams can avoid them. Over to you, Mr. Jain.
So thank you very much, Sherry, and thanks for inviting us for this excellent session. And the way you put it, you gave right in the beginning some of the key dimensions of building brand. And it was great to hear Ambi, always pleasure to hear him, his insights on building the brands. I will just start with business is marketing and business is building brand. And if there is no marketing, there is no business. So that is fundamental according to me. And whatever one has learned over the years is basically get science into business, science into marketing, and basically getting data-based or insight-based marketing. That has been a fundamental thing over the years. I like to thank some of the outstanding professors and some of my outstanding teachers who brought that discipline. And I will give you an example what are the pitfalls. So right from C.K. Prahlad to Professor Vora to Abhinandan Jain, and in Boots, which has been an academy for marketing, where I got the opportunity to work with Ambi and some of the outstanding professionals like Mr. Anil Kapoor, is that marketing is an uncertain word. You don't know how the future will shape. You are predicting the future, you are predicting the patients. And COVID has been a great example of ultimate uncertainty. You can get certainty to an extent to a decision, and you are more scientific in your decisions if you get data, information, and insights into the game. The question is, we are operating in a world where there is a lot of data. There is a data which is not relevant, and there is a data which is relevant, which is not available. So what data to look for and what insight to look from? From data comes information, from information comes insight, and insights help to take a particular decision in the context of a problem which you have in day-to-day business. So unless there is a problem, you don't need anything. So the problem starting point is whenever you look at any data, yes, you read everyday newspaper, you go to many social sites, you go to WhatsApp, there's so much data, there's so much information. But if you get overloaded with that data and information, you get more paralyzed. And I will quote here Nelson Mandela, that your choices in uncertain world has to be driven by hopes, not fear, because that will lead to paralysis. And it has to be driven by open mind to look at the information and insights in an open way instead of being governed by biases. So what happens in today's world, many of us, being a marketing person, and I will give some examples to you, we get caught up with the past biases. This worked for me in the past, this will work for the future. Biggest disaster. We look for information based, we have made the decision, then start looking for the information or data to support that, whatever is there, instead of looking at the open mind. So the great marketeers, the great businessmen are those who look at first what is the issue which you are dealing with and define the questions very, very clearly. Once you have defined the questions, then you have to look at what are the options to deal with this question. Because if there is no option, then there is no question, right? So you have to look. Abhinandan Jain says rightly in one of the lectures is, if there is no alternative, there is no problem. So what we do, we define the problem and we define the solution, and then we start looking at the data, which is a standard data which has come over the years. That's the biggest disaster which can happen in life. So one of the habits which we need to do, and that's the training which we have been given in Boots, and Ambi has been part of it. What is the problem? That's the first question. And if you are able to diagnose the issue, your data, your information, your insights will be much better. So first question is defining the problem very, very clearly, defining what are the options which are available, right? And then how will you evaluate options? And then the question of data comes in, information comes in, insights come in. Insight help you to make better decisions. So whether it is Brufen going into from arthritis going to extended indication, or insulin, where Sherry, you have played a very, very important role. It was for type 1 diabetes. Moving to type 2 diabetes, you have been the pioneer, right? So because you said that is the market where which is there, the new data is coming. It was an open mind to look at the overall thing. At that time, if someone said that consulting physician will start prescribing insulins or GP will start prescribing, it was not heard of at that particular moment. But you brought that thing based on the insights. Yes, the new data is coming in, which says this. These are the options which are there. So I will conclude from here, and then we'll give you some answers going forward. One is data, information, insights. They are helpful to take a decision, right? First is you have to define the frame of reference. And frame of reference is very, very important, which is defining the problem, defining the options, and then look for data which helps you to evaluate. Instead of going the other way around, you take the decision and then look for data to support it. So the starting point is define the problem clearly and then look for data to support it. I will stop here.